find the medium where your ideal clients are at and go out there and contact them. I'm not saying solicit them, but I'm saying go out there and like be where they're at, network with them, be in the groups that they're in, and then, you know, naturally they're just going to come to you.
We're here with Chris Lyle, the founder and CEO of Law Hustle. And Chris, you know, you're an attorney and also an entrepreneur, and a lot of attorneys are just getting started. And what advice do you have for brand new attorneys?
I mean, the first thing out of the gate for anybody is obviously us as attorneys, we probably already know what type of business structure we're going to make, right? So I'm going to just say that as the slam dunk. You guys already know how to do that too. That's one. Two would be like, how can you operate in an efficient and lean manner right out of the gate, right? When we first started, for example, I wanted to make sure we had the tools that got us the best efficiency, but also not the most expensive cost. Like Google Workspace is a great one. That's one. All your document stuff, your email, everything's in one spot. Don't have to worry about it. A phone system, obviously you got to be able to take phone calls. Don't be giving out your cell phone to people, because the last thing you want to do is get a phone call in the middle of the night from a client you don't necessarily want to talk to in the middle of the night. Let's put it that way. So an environment to run all your stuff. Google Workspace was a great one we chose because it was very cost effective. A phone system. I think when we first started, we used something like Ring Central. I think it was when we first started, but now since then we've moved over to Zoom Phone, and I like it better actually because you can do video and phone all at the same time. That's a great one. And then the two one would be like your practice management system, right? There's probably a dozen practice management systems out there on the market right now, but you got to look at each one of them and evaluate what features they provide based on the practice area that you're in. So if you're doing personal injury, maybe something like Filevines Vetter or Case Peer is another one I think is related to personal injury. If you are going to do a bunch of different practice areas in your firm with a bunch of other people, maybe Clio is a better option for you because it's more robust. You can customize it more. You just evaluate what you're going to be using and how you're going to be managing cases in that practice area, because they all have different features and benefits, and you got to just make sure it fits your mold. I mean, last thing you want to do, and we did this, we came in and we bought one practice management software, and we're like, all right, this is it. This is what we're going to use. And we started using it, and I got to the point where, you know, I'm a techie nerd guy. Like, I'm just like, there's no open API for this. Like, how am I supposed to do all this stuff and automate this stuff? And it really irritated me. So we ended up switching to Clio mid-swing. So think about taking a year's worth of data out of one system and putting it in another system. I mean, that was terrible. It was terrible. I hated doing it. And now we're just riding with Clio, and that's what we do. But those are things to evaluate. So, you know, your environment, your phone system, obviously your practice management system, those are probably like the three key things. And you probably can easily get all that done for at least one or two or three users for less than $500 a month. And that's getting you out to the races to start getting the cases in. And the next obviously step is going into the deeper things like marketing budget. Do you need an intake system like Law Hustle or some of the other ones out there to help you manage your leads? It really comes down to what you need and how you can best use it for your practice.
What would you say, as an attorney getting started, who should their first hire be?
Oh man, that's like a loaded question because it could be anybody, and it really depends on the practice area. I am a firm believer in working smarter, not harder. Like, there's a lot of great virtual assistant agencies out there that'll find you somebody who's trained in operating in a legal capacity. Those are probably the best hires. Honestly, to tell you the truth, like, you can hire a paralegal that could bill hours for you. Like, for example, if your methodology for your firm is like, I'm gonna hire a paralegal that can also bill clients, then go hire a paralegal that can bill clients, right? Because that's extra revenue for you. But if you don't have that ability for your practice area, maybe a VA is the best bet. And I'm gonna be honest with you, some of my best employees are VAs.
Yeah.
And they are just workhorses. They'll process documents like they're going out of style. They'll file things with the court anytime I ask them to do it, and they're awesome.
Yeah,
and they're very cost effective for a firm that starts off.
So you've addressed a few cost effectiveness and staying lean a couple of times. How important is it when you're at the beginning of a practice, and really at any point to stay lean and stay, efficient in your operational costs?
I mean, lean is mostly for your sanity. I would think, right? The last thing you want to do is overexpose yourself financially in your practice, right? So like the leaner you can operate for a longer period of time, the better position you're going to be in to like, you know what, I'm ready. I can hire an associate. I'm ready. I can hire another paralegal, right? Because then you like I knew the mathematical equation like as we were growing our practice. I knew that every head that I added into the area was going to cost me $250 a month in software costs. I was just equating it to software. Like if I added somebody, it cost me the hardware that they're operating on and $250 a month to make it work. Now, could I make sure that they're generating 3 times as much revenue as they are as it's costing me? Is that really what it came down? So I always make sure that they were generating 3 times as much revenue as I'm actually spending on them to operate in, I guess, in the business.
Right. Yeah. So and seeing that knowing that, measuring that, seeing that there's a cost benefit analysis there. So you addressed some of the main software attorneys need to look at. You addressed some of like intelligent hiring process. What about just for managing their own sanity? What are some things that you think in terms of keeping, a balanced individual at the beginning of entering practice?
I mean, hanging up your own shingle is no easy thing. Like, but you have to set expectations for yourself. There's going to be ups and there's going to be downs, right? And the only way you're going to have the higher ups is if you have the downs, right? You're going to fail along the way. You're going to learn as you fail, and you're going to get to the higher ups, right? Which would be higher revenue, more efficiency, whatever it is. And I honestly, I wish out of the gate I had a mentor. Like, for me, it was like my partner knew the practice area and I was just a nerd. So we just kind of meshed it together to make it all work and efficient and made it work, right? But if you have somebody that's already stumbled through the process of the failures and you can learn from that person, I mean, I'm a firm believer. If you can learn from somebody else's failures, it makes your journey much, much enjoyable. And also, too, live your life. The whole reason you hung up your shingle in the first place was not to work more than you did at your previous firm. It was for you to have a better work-life balance, to hustle less. That's the whole point of people doing it, right? Make more revenue and have a better, life. I hear from attorneys all the time. The reason why I opened up my own firm is because I want to have more time for my family. I wanted to have more time for myself. I didn't want to be tied to my desk in the billable hours all the time. You still may be in your own firm, but don't be afraid to build your practice around your lifestyle. Like if you want to be able to take your kids to school every morning, or you want to be able to go to their baseball game in the afternoon, build your firm around that parameter. And then your life is going to be enjoyable long-term because at 4:00, I'm going to go to my son's baseball game. At 9:00 in the morning, I'm going to take both of my kids to school and give them a kiss goodbye. Like that, you got to build your life around that because that's why you hung up your own shingle. And if you can do that, long-term, you're going to have a great experience in your own firm.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I don't know why so often it's easy to forget and just start like losing all those boundaries and just work forever, right? But I mean, you're right. Why take the risk if you're not focusing on the lifestyle and the life that you want to build? Any last pieces of advice for people just getting going? What's if they could do one thing in their marketing, what would you say they should do?
I mean, out of the gate for marketing would be to really think about where your ideal clients are at. It depends on what practice area you're in, right? Where your ideal clients are at, and find a medium that relates to that ideal client you're looking for, right? You don't want to be the jack of all trades where you're doing X, Y, Z, and you'll take any case that comes your way. You want to focus in on something, and everybody says you should niche down, right? And I agree with that. You should be able to focus on something that you're really good at, and you can build processes and efficiencies around, because then you can scale to like the moon because you've dialed in a particular process of one thing. So if you can just figure out what it is that you want to do and focus on that one thing, the rest of it will just kind of all come to you at some point, right? It may suck, turning away a case that you would necessarily be able to take or take revenue from. But if you focus on something else, that you're more passionate about or your ideal clients, you know, you have you get more of your ideal clients going down the road. So go back to the marketing question. Find the medium where your ideal clients are at, and go out there and contact them. I'm not saying solicit them, but I'm saying go out there and like be where they're at, network with them, be in the groups that they're in, and then naturally they're just going to come to you. If you don't have any money for marketing, if you do have money for marketing, you can find a resource for those type of ideal clients. If it's Facebook ads or Google ads, right? Personal injury, for example, Google search ads are the best because that's the highest intent you can get from somebody who's going to click into your page, right?
Right.
So it just depends.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Chris. For those of you who are looking to grow your practice and live an amazing lifestyle, keep checking out Chris's content and check out golawhustle.com.